The baby shower got awkward when my husband's mom completely ignored me and proudly announced, "We're only thanking our daughter-in-law for bringing a grandchild into the family." My husband sighed and muttered, "Just let it go." I smirked and held up a birth certificate. Then she's really going to love being off the approved visitors list. Her jaw dropped as hospital staff confirmed she was banned. This story still gives me chills. I'm a 32-year-old woman living in Fort Worth, Texas, and I'm married to Darren. We've been together for 4 years, married for 2. I'm a first-time mom and our daughter is now 6 months old. But this happened during my pregnancy and right after I gave birth. Darren and I have a strong relationship. We communicate well, support each other, and things were great until his mother started making things difficult. Her name is Marlene. She's in her late 60s, lives 15 minutes away, and acts like she runs the universe. She's not loud or openly rude, just subtly dismissive, fake nice, always playing innocent in front of others. She never liked me. I tried. I really did. I cooked for her, gave her thoughtful gifts, complimented her. Nothing worked. She either ignored me, or gave me that slow, fake smile that said, "I'm only putting up with you for now." Darren kept saying, "Don't take it personally. She's just old-fashioned. She'll never fully warm up. It's not a big deal." I gave her a year and a half to come around. She never did. When we found out we were expecting, I hoped things might change. Darren was overjoyed, and for a second I thought maybe she'd soften. Nope. When we told her I was pregnant, she gave Darren a long emotional hug and cried. Then she turned to me and said, "Well, I guess you're finally doing something for the family." I laughed a little, thought she was joking. She wasn't. After that, she acted like she was the one having the baby. She told everyone at her church. She picked out nursery colors and suggested names, completely uninvited. She even told Darren to move the crib to her house so she could have her time with the baby. She texted me once saying, "You'll need help after the birth. I can come over and take care of the baby while you rest. Not help me, not support us, just take the baby," like I'd be sidelined. I brought it up to Darren again. He sighed and said she means well. I didn't want a big baby shower, just close family and a few friends. We hosted it at our house, since I was 36 weeks along, swollen feet, back pain, the whole deal. My mom and sisters decorated the yard. We had tacos, cupcakes, and a clothesline for all the little baby onesies. It was lovely, until Marlene showed up. She arrived 45 minutes late, wearing white to my baby shower, brought her own bottle of wine, poured herself a glass, and greeted everyone like she was the host. Didn't even say hello to me. She went straight to Darren, gave him a big hug, and said how proud she was of him for stepping up like he was some teenager doing the right thing. I stood there, smiling through it, holding a paper plate of cold tacos. I kept thinking, she's just awkward, she'll come around. Then we started opening gifts. I opened one from my friend Sarah, some baby bath stuff and a cute little duck towel. Everyone loved it. Then came Marlene's gift, a small pink box with a ribbon. Inside, a plain white onesie with Daddy's Girl printed on it in pink. No card, no note, no mention of me. Still, I smiled. "Thanks, Marlene. This is sweet." Then she did it. She raised her glass, turned to the group and said, "We're just so happy to be welcoming this baby. It's a huge blessing to the family." She paused. "We're so grateful to our son for giving us this gift." People clapped. Some smiled awkwardly. My mom looked like she was ready to throw her drink. I just sat there smiling and crumbling inside. After a few minutes, I excused myself and went to the bathroom. I didn't cry. I just stared at the mirror and thought, no more. I'm done being polite. Here's something a lot of people don't know: when you give birth, you can make a visitor list at the hospital. You don't just list who's allowed, you can also list who's not. So at my next OB appointment, I brought it up. I asked, can I make sure certain people can't come into the room when I give birth? The nurse nodded. Absolutely. Just give us their name and relation. I filled out the form. Allowed Darren, my mom, my sisters and my best friend Sarah. Not allowed, Marlene. I wrote her name in all caps and underlined it twice. When Darren and I got home, I didn't say a word. No warnings, no reminders. Labor started at 2:30 a.m. It was slow at first, but by mid-morning, the The contractions were intense. Darren rushed me to the hospital, and we got checked in. 23 hours later, after screaming, crying, and swearing at every man who ever existed, I gave birth to our daughter. She was perfect. 8 pounds, 6 ounces, with a full head of dark hair. She looked just like Darren. I was exhausted, but proud. Strong. Darren held her first and cried. My mom kissed my forehead. It was one of the most emotional moments of my life. And then we heard yelling in the hallway. A nurse knocked. Sorry to bother you. There's a woman outside insisting she be let in. She says she's the grandmother. My heart rate spiked. Marlene. The nurse nodded. She's not just not on the list. I said. She's on the banned list. The nurse smiled. Understood. Please enforce it. She gave a thumbs up and left. 5 minutes later, we heard her voice. Loud, sharp, echoing down the corridor. I drove here. I canceled plans. You will let me see my grandchild. The nurse calmly replied. Ma'am, you're not on the approved list. We can't allow you in, but I'm the grandmother. That doesn't change the policy. My son is the father. Still no. Darren sat beside me, holding our daughter. Too quiet. I turned to him. You going to say anything? He sighed. That same sigh I'd heard 100 times. I didn't think you were serious. You thought I was bluffing. He looked pale. She's going to go ballistic. She already is. I shrugged. An hour later, another nurse peeked in. Just a heads up. Your mother-in-law tried to sneak in dressed as hospital staff. My jaw dropped. She what? She grabbed a white coat and clipboard, said she was a pediatric consultant. We stopped her a few steps past the waiting area. Then she screamed and dropped the clipboard. Security escorted her out. No arrest, just a firm warning. The damage though was done. Darren's phone started buzzing. Texts, calls, voicemail. He ignored them, just sat beside me cradling our daughter, but I could tell he was holding something in. Finally I said, go talk to her, deal with it. If you don't, I will. He nodded, and left. 20 minutes later, he came back, different, quiet. What happened? She said I'm choosing you over family. I looked him dead in the eyes. You're supposed to choose your own family. That's what marriage is. She said I was brainwashed. That you manipulated me. Did you tell her the truth? I told her you made the list, and I agreed with it. Did you? He looked up. Yes. Now I do. That night, a nurse came in. She's not trying to come back, is she? I asked. No. But she did call the nurse's station, pretending to be you. What? She said she needed to update the visitor list. Tried to add herself and remove your mom. I just stared. How did you know it wasn't me? The nurse smirked. She called you Marlene. People don't refer to themselves in third person like that. Next morning, Darren went for coffee. My mom was asleep, and I was half drifting when I saw it. A shadow pacing outside the room. Then I heard, you can't keep her from me forever. Marlene. Again, she had somehow made it back. Arguing with security, claiming I have a legal right to see my granddaughter. She did. No such right exists. I got up, pulled the curtain, looked through the glass in the door. We made eye contact. She froze, then mouthed, this isn't over. 2 days later, after we were discharged, Darren got a call. It was from his aunt, Marlene's sister. She said Marlene was devastated, claimed I'd cut her out of her own family, and was being emotionally abusive. She told Darren she was considering speaking to a lawyer. That's when I lost. Not only had she tried to force her way into the hospital, sneak in disguised as a doctor, impersonate me on the phone, and scream at nurses, but now she wanted to challenge me legally for access to my newborn. I called my lawyer that night, just in case. A few days later, Darren was going through his voicemails. He hit play on one and froze. Wait. Listen. It was Marlene. Her voice too calm. Darren, if you keep choosing her over me, just remember who raised you, who paid for your college, who stayed when others did. That baby isn't even really yours. And deep down, you know it. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. She thinks I cheated. Darren just stared at the floor. She's losing it. I said she lost it after hearing that voicemail. The one where Marlene told Darren that our baby wasn't really his. I felt physically sick. Not just because of the accusation, but because she sounded so certain. This woman, who barely looked me in the eyes for 2 years, thought she had enough authority to question my character, my pregnancy and my marriage all in one voicemail. Darren sat in silence for a while, then said she's going to keep pushing. I know her. He was right. Days later, an envelope showed up at our door. No return address. Inside was a handwritten letter in red ink. No greeting, no sign-off. Just you can hide things from him now, but the truth always rises. You should agree to a DNA test, unless you have something to hide. Don't worry, the truth will protect my son from making a lifetime mistake. No name was signed, but the handwriting was identical to her birthday card from the previous year. I showed it to Darren. He didn't say a word, just threw it in the trash and muttered, "She's in," but I kept it, just in case. A week after we brought the baby home, Darren decided to give her one last chance to act respectfully. He called her and told her she could stop by the house, under strict conditions. 1 hour, no drama, no accusations, no surprises. She showed up 10 minutes early, dressed as if she were attending a job interview, full makeup, pearls and heels. The first thing out of her mouth was, "She looks like Darren, thank God." Strike one. Then she walked over to the baby's bassinet, leaned over, and whispered something I couldn't hear. I asked her what she said. She looked up with a smile and replied, "I told her she's lucky to have me." Strike two. Then she turned to Darren and said, "So when are you two planning on getting the DNA test done?" I blinked. "Excuse me?" She smiled smugly, as if she'd rehearsed it in the mirror. "I mean, it's just smart these days. You never really know, right, Darren?" Strike three. "Get out," I said. Darren hesitated. I said louder, "Marlene, get out." She looked around like she expected someone to back her up. "Don't be dramatic. It's a reasonable request. He should want to know for sure." I walked over, opened the front door and pointed outside. "If you don't leave right now, I will call the cops and say you're harassing a new mother, and trespassing. Your choice." She left, but not before whispering, "He'll come around next week." Darren's cousin sent him screenshots of a Facebook post Marlene made. It was one of those vague, drama-filled posts. When your son is being tricked by someone who won't even agree to a simple DNA test, you start to question if the baby was just a trap. Some people can fake love, but not blood. The comments were even worse. "Oh no, hope everything's okay. Praying for your family during this confusing time. They always reveal themselves in the end. Stay strong." Marlene was replying to each one with a fake sadness act. "I just hope the truth comes out. I'm not trying to stir anything." We hadn't even responded publicly. She was fighting shadows. Finally I messaged her. Just one line. "Delete the post or I will." She blocked me. No joke. A week later, Darren received an email from a local family attorney. Apparently Marlene had scheduled a consultation about grandparent visitation rights. In Texas, grandparents can file for visitation under very limited circumstances, usually only if the parent is deceased, incarcerated, or otherwise unfit. We didn't meet any of those criteria, but that didn't stop her from trying. She told the lawyer that I was withholding access to her only grandchild, painted Darren as conflicted and abused, and claimed I was manipulating him into cutting her out. We had to formally respond with a statement through our own attorney. Darren was looking through his old email folders, trying to find some health insurance info for the baby when he stumbled across something odd. An email from his mom, dated a year ago, with the subject line, "Think about this." Inside was a PDF titled, "Prenup." She had written a fake prenup and sent it to him before we got married. We were already engaged at the time. She had written, "Add this to her paperwork. She won't know the difference. Just tell her it's standard. If she truly loves you, she won't care." I couldn't breathe. She had tried to trick me into signing something that said I would get nothing in the event of a divorce, that the child would default to Darren's custody, and that any family inheritance or future assets would be protected from marital threats. She had written this about me and tried to hide. Darren didn't even remember the email. He had never opened the attachment. He just sat there staring at it, and then finally said, "She's not just overstepping anymore. She's dangerous." We sent everything: the hospital incident report, the Facebook screenshots, the letter, the voicemail, and now the fake prenup to our lawyer. He said, "You have a strong case for a protective order, maybe even a restraining order if she escalates again." We didn't file it yet, but we were ready if needed. I started writing everything down, every call, every message, every strange move, because if she comes back again, I want proof that she's damaged her own relationship with her granddaughter, and I want it in writing. A few weeks after we discovered the fake prenup draft, things went quiet. Too quiet. No messages, no drive-bys, no voicemails filled with guilt trips. Darren and I didn't trust it. She's planning something, I said. He didn't argue. We were right. It was a Sunday morning. I was still in pajamas, holding Noelle, while Darren made pancakes. Someone rang the doorbell. Then again, and again, and again. Darren looked out the window and swore under his breath. I peeked out from the other window, and my jaw dropped. There were 4 people outside. Marlene, wearing a pastel blue suit and carrying a Bible. A man in a priest's collar, holding a cross and a laminated speech. A camera guy with a local news logo on his hoodie. A woman with a microphone and a clipboard. I stood frozen. What the hell? I whispered. The doorbell rang again. Darren opened the door just a crack. Marlene immediately launched into performance mode. We're here today to make peace, to bring healing, to show the world that family comes first. I stepped in front of the door, Noelle still in my arms, back away from the house. The reporter tried to speak. Ma'am, we're filming a short feature on forgiveness. Nope, I said. You're being used. Marlene looked straight at me, her voice getting louder. She was performing for the camera now. I've done nothing but love this child. And I've been banned. But I'm not here for revenge. I'm here to forgive the mother who turned my son against me. That was it. I turned to Darren. You handle this, or I will. Darren stepped outside alone. He shut the door behind him. We watched through the blinds. Noelle in my arms. My mom beside me. Sarah on the couch, holding her phone up to record it. It started quietly, him talking, her interrupting, hands waving. Then Darren raised his voice loud enough that we heard it through the window. No cameras, no fake apologies. You want forgiveness? Start with the truth. She said something. He shook his head. Tell them how you tried to sneak into the hospital in a lab coat. Tell them how you called pretending to be my wife. Tell them about the fake prenup. Everyone outside froze. The pastor looked at her. The reporter whispered something to the cameraman. The cameraman started lowering the lens. Marlene's face dropped. No comment. She muttered. You want to fix things? Darren, get off my porch and stop treating my wife like a villain in your sick drama. Marlene looked him dead in the eyes and said, You're throwing away your blood. He stepped back, pointed to the sidewalk and said, And you threw away your family the moment you tried to erase my wife from it. He walked back inside, shaking, jaw clenched. He didn't say a word for the rest of the day. The next day, her apology post went up. Fake tears, quotes about forgiveness, some Bible verse. Most of her friends commented in support, but some didn't. Darren's cousin wrote, You dragged your daughter-in-law online for months, tried to break up their marriage, and now you want sympathy. Nah. Her post got reported and deleted. She messaged Darren 2 nights later. It was short. I hope you're happy. You've made your choice. Don't expect me at Christmas. He left it on read. It took a few days for us to even talk about it. I found Darren sitting in the nursery alone, rocking Noelle while she slept. She ruined everything, he whispered. She didn't ruin everything. I said, You're here, I'm here. And Noelle's here. He nodded slowly. I feel like I lost a parent. I didn't say anything. I just sat beside him, because I didn't know what to say. Later that week, his aunt, the only one with a clear head, apparently called me privately. I'm sorry, she said. We all knew she was intense, but we didn't know it was this bad. She told me Marlene was now spinning the story, claiming I brainwashed Darren. She said the pastor was misled and the camera crew twisted her words. Typical. We never filed the restraining order. We didn't need to. She burned the bridge herself and then danced on the ash. She hasn't seen our daughter since. She hasn't been to our house. She hasn't been mentioned unless we bring her up. And even then, only as a warning. Darren had a quiet moment a few weeks ago, staring at Noelle. He said, I used to feel guilty, like I owed her everything for raising me, but now I realize I only owe my daughter peace. That stuck with me. No contact for 5 months. My postpartum recovery was peaceful without her. Darren is in therapy to deal with his guilt. Noelle's middle name is quietly Grace, because that's what it took to survive all this without turning bitter. I'm not proud of everything I said to Marlene, but I'm proud I didn't let her win. I stood up for myself, for my child, for my marriage. She can spin whatever story she wants because at the end of the day,
She's the one missing out. I used to wonder if I was overreacting, if I was being the difficult one, if maybe just maybe I should have let her play her games for the sake of family. But I've learned something. Being related to someone doesn't give them a free pass to disrespect you, and becoming a mother doesn't mean losing your spine. It means growing a new one made of steel. I'm not angry anymore.